Hi, I'm Cliff.
And I'm Sherry. We're here from DIY Craft Bar to give you some tips and tricks with your Crafts to Go project.
So let's get crafty. Hi, I'm Cliff from DIY Craft Bar. Today we're going to show you how to make one of our wood welcome porch signs. I'm going to be taking you through all the steps and tips and tricks to create this wonderful craft. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take care of our staining of the board. So as previously shown in other video, we're going to add some black paint into the bottom of our bowl. Make sure you have a bowl. And we're also going to need to add some water. Now we're going to take one of our foam brushes that you might have. In this case, I'm going to be using a foam brush, and we're going to brush it onto the wood board like so. After we've mixed our water paint solution, make sure we cover the whole board. And we're going to work with the grain as we go down. And make sure, don't forget to get the sides as well. You can see there. Hopefully you have some paper put down so that you're not painting all over your furniture or your nice tables, or you're doing it somewhere where you aren't going to make a big mess. There we go. Paint this whole board like so. Now once I've got it all painted, make sure to get the side here as well. And don't forget your bottoms as well. Then we're going to take some paper towel, and we are now going to wipe off the paint water solution. And as you can see here, it gives us a nice stain of some type. Nice black stain. Now, of course, you can use less paint. You can use less water or more water to get you more of a saturated color. Generally, we recommend doing a 3-to-1 to 2-to-1 ratio on the water to paint. And again, you can use any color. You can use black, you can use blue, red, blue, gray, brown. Each one will give you a nice stain color. And there you go. So now this board is ready. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to do some stenciling. Now that your board is completely dry, make sure it is dry before we continue. What we're going to do is we're going to take care of the stenciling portion. Now when you receive your stencil, you're going to notice that it comes as a full sheet. And what we're going to do to make it super easy for you is that we're going to cut this and lay it down and place it. So the first thing we're going to do, your stencil, of course, will already come prepped. You'll see it has the plastic film on top, and all of the letters are removed for you. So super simple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut along the line, just like that, just so that way we can place our letters down. Now in most cases, you will also receive, if you've ordered it, you'll probably receive either an established or a personalized name on your stencil. Now, that would normally be in this spot right here. And what you're going to do, depending on which one you got, you're going to measure down. So if you had received one that has your name on it, so the Smiths, the Robinsons, whatever your last name is, you are going to take a ruler and a pencil, and you're going to measure 7 inches down from the top of the board. So like that, and just leave a little mark, just so that you know where you're going to be starting your stenciling. So 7 inches from the top of your board. If you have an established, what you're going to do is you're going to go 3 inches down from the top of the board, and that's where you're going to start stenciling. And then by stenciling, I mean laying this out. And then that way your established can go at the bottom. Of course, it is your craft. If you'd like to put established at the top, that is up to you. It is your craft and you can do it however you want. Okay, so once I've got that marked, of course the pencil mark won't be, you won't be able to see it with the blackboard, so that's good. So don't worry about marking up your board. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna find our mark for 7 inches. From the top, as you can see, I'm laying out my stencil here. What I'm going to do, because I have a little extra here, I am going to cut the excess here so that I can place my second half like so, and making sure that there's enough space. So I'm going to cut along this line here, pull that one off, and that way we'll be ready to stencil. There we go. And now we will line that up. Okay, so what we're going to do first, and if you haven't seen our previous videos on how to do stenciling, you can watch it. Of course, I'm going to show you right again. So what we're going to do is we are going to first peel off the back white strips. You can see here. Start this off. And again, when we do this, it's good to just roll it across. Just take your time. Don't rush. If you see some of them sticking like that, you can see, put it back down, push it against there, and there. It's back onto there, onto our grid pattern. Oh, see again, sticking. So back onto the grid pattern. Just gonna put it on my stencil here. There we go. Discard this. And now we're going to find our mark, our 7 inches, and then we're going to lightly place it down just to get a feel. And then of course you're going to want to align it to make sure that it's relatively straight on the board. You can also use a ruler if you'd like to see how far off they are. The good thing is because you've got one piece, all your letters should be okay. Okay, and then we're going to take the second one, and we're gonna, before we even push this down, we're gonna take the other one off. And the reason why we want to do that is so make sure that they're all lined up before we finally commit to pushing down our blue vinyl and then peeling off the top layer. So same thing on this one, and you can see it wants to peel up those pieces. So we are gonna re-push these down. Make sure you have a solid surface as well to push them down, because you're gonna find that if it's a little too soft, it doesn't want to give as easily. All right. Sometimes find it a little tricky. Okay, same thing, discard that. And then what we're gonna do again is now we're gonna take this, and because I made that cut, you can just kind of place it like that. See how we have this lined up. And then of course you can take a look at your stencil, make sure it's all lined up. If it looks good to you, and you can make adjustments as you need to. Just make sure you don't push down your stencil. Once you're happy with the way it looks, then we can smooth it out a bit like that. And then we are going to peel off our top grid layer. So again, finding a space to start this. There we go. And what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to just roll it off. And And as we roll it off, you can smooth out the vinyl stencil, the blue vinyl stencil. So, and you can see I'm just slowly rolling it out as we go. Just like that. We get to the bottom. Okay, so we've got our blue vinyl down. We've removed our top grid, and now what we're going to do is just get prepped for painting. I'm going to just trim off some of the excess here. Not really necessary to have that. And of course, if you find that you need if you're cut too close to the edges, if you find that there's a little too close for painting, you can use these as patches as well, if you need to. And what I'm going to do before I start painting is I'm going to go and look at the blue vinyl and just make sure that there's no bumps on there sticking up. So like something like this, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of stuck up. So I'm just going to smooth that out like that, just away from the edges. And of course, you're going to continue doing this as well as you paint, because sometimes when you paint, those pieces will come up. So as you come down painting, make sure that you're smoothing it too. And as you can see here, the second stencil I've got laid down, and I'm just going to smooth those ones out. In some cases, you might find that you can always just lift it slightly, just like that. Just make sure you be careful when you're lifting them, because once it's on and it's stuck, if you try to pull it off, it could ruin the stencil altogether. Excellent. So now that I've got this all smooth, we are ready to paint. And again, we'll cover some of these items as we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white acrylic paint and put just a little. Now, as I've said in our previous videos, we are doing light coats. So because we're going white on black, we're going to need at least 2 coats. Could even need 3, but we want to do nice and light coats. So don't try to cover it all in one go. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the top, and we're going to go work our way down. As we get to the bottom, we'll start again at the top, and that will be dry. So we'll be able to continuously go back and forth. But take your time. Don't rush it. Don't put a lot of paint on your brush. And what we're going to do is, again, as I said, you can see some of it's bubbling up a little bit. I'm going to smooth that out a little bit. Just like that, just to make sure that I'm not. And here's a good example as well of needing a little bit of a patch. So on here, this is really close to my edge. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put a little patch there. And that just so that I don't paint onto my board, because then you'd have to fix your board. So you can see here, we are going to start, and we're just going to use a little bit of paint, and we're going to paint away from the edges, so that way we're trying to keep the paint over top. We don't want it to go in underneath our stencil in these bigger spots. But as you can see, light coat, not a lot of paint. We're not trying to coat it and cover it in one go. Some patience is going to be required, but this is your time to just kind of sit, do some painting, reflect on how good of a job you're doing on this craft, how well it's going to turn out. So, as you can see, taking a little bit of paint each time, not a lot, and we are, don't worry too much about the grain right now, that it might look a little cloudy and not covered in some spots, a little more in other. Don't worry about that too much, because as I mentioned, we're doing 2 coats, maybe even 3 if you you feel so inclined, but I generally find 2 coats is enough. Alright, so we've done our second coat. As you can see, nicely coated. Everything, and now it's nice and dry. And we're ready to peel up our blue vinyl and give you the reveal. What I forgot to mention earlier as well, and if you haven't seen our earlier video, make sure you, after you've used your stain, your black stain, just keep that aside. Don't throw it out because you might need to do some touch-ups if there's some bleeding. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to peel off our blue vinyl now. And now at our shop we have X-Acto blades. So of course, much more convenient here, but you can use your nail or pencil or something just to get those extra little spots. And there we go. It is now stenciled. We hope that these tips helped you with your Crafts to Go project. If you have any further questions, just reach out to us by email or social media with the links below.
Be sure to like and follow us and post your finished creations on social media and hashtag DIY Craft Bar.
We hope to see you soon. Thank you.